Hello and happy holidays. Today I've got a blast from the past treat for you, and that is this mail art envelope template. So it's a free template from TPK that I made in 2013. You can see that it was created with acrylic paint, so we've got a little bit of that nice texture there. And I recently saw it on the site and I thought, you know, this is really cool, so let's bring it back. And I'm going to show you how to make it. It's really quite self-explanatory, but you know, I think it's fun sometimes to just watch a YouTube video and make something with someone. So I've got two templates in here. There's the tree with just this one string of lights, and then we've got this string of lights envelope here. And I'll show you two ways to put it together. So the first way just utilizes stuff that you would normally have at home. And then the second way, I've got this fancy, I don't know, grooved thing. I'm not explaining it well, but I'll show you what it is. So you start by cutting out the envelope. And when you're printing this template, make sure that your printer isn't shrinking the template. It's not of utmost importance because either way you get this envelope shape and you can make an envelope. But you know, if you want it to be to size, then you'll want it to be its original size, you know, the size that's intended here. So even if your printer cuts off these side flaps, that is okay. And lots of rotation here to get just the right angle that you need. Oh, come on. And we are done with that part. So now just take any straight edge you have. So I'm just using a greeting card that is made out of strong paper. And basically you're going to use that page, that straight edge, to meet each side of the flap here. And then we fold it over. And then if you have a bone folder, these things are really handy because they allow you to make this crisp, clean fold. So you just use it like that. If you don't have one, I'll show you what to do. All right, so let's fold this side flap in. Okay, so no bone folder, no problem. Just use something like a ruler, just some sort of object that's flat and sturdy to really reinforce that crease. The bone folder works the best, but I recognize that that's a pretty esoteric tool. So if you don't have it, just use a ruler like I just showed you. Fold this in and then reinforce. And fold the top flap in, and we're almost done. And now what you're going to want to do is glue these flaps. So it really doesn't matter whether you glue the bottom flap on top of the side flaps or the side flaps on top of the bottom flap. It's just whatever looks best to you. But whatever you decide, go ahead and use a mechanical pencil to get just under that edge so people can't see where your pencil lines are. And then you're going to be able to see where these two pages overlap. So you can use a glue stick or any glue or double-sided tape to glue these together. And then you just fold up. So once you put your card or correspondence into the envelope, I would just recommend gluing it shut. You can also use washi tape, you can use a wax seal, but I think glue is the best way to do it. And voila, instant envelope art. So let me show you how to fold the other one. Okay, the initial process is exactly the same, so we're just cutting. So I'm gonna speed up the video so you don't have to watch me do that again in real time. So for the next step, I'm going to be using this Score Pal board, and it was designed by Deanna Crick, and I'm pretty sure that she sent it to me several years ago, and I just had not used it until I lost my bone folder, and I thought, wait, I'm pretty sure I have a bone folder on this Score Pal thing, right? So I started using the Score Pal, and it's pretty handy. So what you do is you just line up the things that you need scored, which sometimes I don't do it quite right. So the straight edge is, see, I got on the wrong track there. Okay, but then you just do it again. So sometimes the straight edge just works a little bit better for me because I can't quite tell like which groove is where. I think it'd be handier on this thing if like the grooves were different colors, like if this was red and this was black and this is red and this is black. I'm sure you don't have one of these things, but I'm just showing you in case it would be helpful for you to have one. I do like it and I find it to be handy. I just don't love that sometimes I get off track with these little groove deals. But, you know, really handy for scoring like cardstock to make cards. So if you're doing a lot of that, then it'd be handy. I just looked it up. I think it's about $30. And then see, this just folds over really nicely. And then of course, all the same steps. Fold this little guy in. And I've really been into putting the flap outside of these side flaps. I think that's what most commercial envelopes do. So that's what I'm doing here. And then glue it. And we're all done with that one. So now we've got these two pieces of fabulous holiday mail art, and all you had to do was do some, cutting and folding. And these are available for free on the TPK website. Now, if you want to stick around for longer, I am totally up for making some calligraphy on one of these. So let's do that. Okay, so I'm just gonna do a very quick address here using watercolor calligraphy because I really like that red and green combo. And maybe let's put in some gold too. This is all stuff from Jess at Greenleaf and Blueberry. It was kind of like an early Christmas gift because Jess she makes the best watercolors ever. I'm talking about this palette and this shell. And she happened to be my roommate at university when we were studying art history in Europe. So I've got the in here. She knows that I've been working on a book. So she wanted to make me a palette and a couple of shells that would show up really nicely in the book. So that's why I am lucky enough to have this. But she did say that she wanted to try to make some of these palettes with the plaster for the holiday season. So hopefully she's done that. So for watercolor calligraphy, there is a tutorial on my YouTube and on my website about how to do that. But essentially, you just brush the paint on the back of your nib, and that becomes your ink. I love to wear my hair up so I can just put my brush in there. I'm very discombobulated when I'm creating calligraphy with my hair down and I can't put the brush in my hair. And I'm just using a very bouncy style of calligraphy because I don't want to have to draw any guidelines. So this is Caitlin style calligraphy. I haven't warmed up yet today, so I can tell that my strokes are a little bit shaky. You probably can't see it, but I can. I think this time of year, it's just, there is so much going on. See, I got my brush from out of here. Because you've got so much end of year stuff and then so much, what am I going to get this person or what am I going to make for that person? And so I just don't have a lot of time to make mail art. At the same time, I don't like sending out envelopes that aren't special. So these printables from the TPK website really help me out because it's mail art, but it's instant mail art. And sometimes you'll find that, your store-bought cards and stuff don't fit in these envelopes because they're just not big enough, because we can't print out an A7 envelope because it's too big for our printers. So this is the largest size that our home printers can tolerate, but it's really great for notes and stationery. So that's what I like to use it for. And then maybe we'll just say Santa Claus Village. I love this process of calligraphy because it's so relaxing. And I feel like this time of year, the holiday season, is more stressful since I had children. But even before I had kids, it always felt a little frenetic. So being able to take just a few minutes to make something and be forced to focus and relax while making it is so nice for mental health. And you also feel productive because you get out of this with something cool. So I just love to make things when I can steal a moment. I'm just using a made up address for Santa Claus here. And if you don't have anybody to write to with an envelope like this, consider More Love Letters. So More Love Letters is a website where people submit letter requests for loved ones who could use just a little bit of a pep talk. So essentially you go to the website and it says, okay, this person, it'll give you like 4 or 5 people who are maybe going through a tough time, or, something is going on in their lives, and you send them a quote unquote love letter. So basically kind words. And, it's not going to be like a pen pal thing, which means that it's a great no pressure way to make a difference in somebody's life and get to make a cool envelope like this. And really this Christmas tree on the side, it's just the foundation. It's up to you as far as what you do with this right side here. And then so I'm using calligraphy and it's red, of course, but if you want to, you can use any hand lettering style. You can even add some things to the Christmas tree. I think I'll probably add a couple of gold ornaments. As you're making this address, whether you're using calligraphy or lettering, just let yourself get lost in the process. Like I said, this is a pretty crazy time of year. It's an awesome time of year, to be sure, but there are also a lot of deadlines, a lot of routine changes. And so when we can steal these moments to make something like this, that can be so restorative. And I think that these printable templates are a great jumping off point for that, because it's not a big time investment. And sometimes you even get kind of sucked in to embellishing it. So it's a good entry point, because you think, okay, I don't have that much energy. I'm just going to print off this template and write an address. But then after you start writing the address, it's kind of like, well, maybe I'll add some gold sparkles. And maybe I'll put in a little more of my own embellishments. And then you end up having spent some quality creative time on the project, which is never a bad thing. So, okay, so now I just want to add a little bit of gold. This shell is just awesome. I think that Jess has some of these for sale. I'm not certain, but you can check. I asked her why shells, and she said actually all watercolors used to come in shells, like way back in the day. But now it's just kind of cool to do metallics and shells. I like to add embellishments to printed envelope art templates, because then you can barely tell, or not tell at all, that they were printed, because you have this very tactile and interactive viewing experience with the gold. And in fact, I might go over this star so it has a little bit of glitter. And here's the thing with me, and I suspect with you too, if you've made it this far in this video, I have a really tough time knowing when to stop. So I think some gold spatters are in order. And how I've been doing that is just sucking up a little bit into my syringe, and then see how I'm doing that? Just very forcefully. I could work on this envelope all day, even though I started with printable. And if you get a big glop like that, just suck it up. Woo. And then to clean your syringe, you'll just fill it with water till it runs clear. I love this little thing. It's super cheap, but it makes such a difference because you can moisten things with it. So yeah, there is my envelope. And I hope that you enjoy making it at home, and that you feel like you can embellish it just like I did. Feel free to play. Yours doesn't have to look like this. So use any kind of lettering you want. Send it to a real person, of course. And then on the back, you have the from information. Now, typically in the US, we write our from information, our sending information here on the left, but I do like to write it on the back. And if you write it smaller, you definitely reduce your chances that the post office is going to read it wrong and send it back. So just write, in nice, inconspicuous lettering, your from address. And yeah, I hope that you enjoy. Remember that these two envelopes are freebies from the TPK website, so you can download them for free from the site, print them out as many times as you want, and use them to send your Christmas notes, greetings, whatever. I do have some premium envelopes available on the site. So every year I make a holiday calligraphy worksheet, But this year I just couldn't do it because I've been working on a book. So I still wanted to do something festive, and I came up with these envelopes. And I did them all of the designs in black and white intentionally because printers vary, and often they vary the most as far as how they print off color. So sometimes color like that used for the tree here can be pretty dicey or pixelated, but black is always a good bet. So all of these motifs are black. And then if you want to add some color to them, you know, this wreath started off as a black and white wreath, but I added just a little bit of green and red and gold, and then of course my red Santa address, and it really came to life. So these envelopes are available through December 26th for download. Print them off, embellish them, and then if you can, some Christmas themed postage stamps are fabulous. I've got some vintage stamps like these, and what I like to do is put on a modern stamp, which covers the cost of actually sending the envelope, and then the Christmas stamp is just for decoration. So I've got a whole other video over where to find postage stamps. You can watch that too. But in the meantime, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you enjoyed these free templates, and happy holidays.